Hey fellow fanatics, welcome to a special edition of the Fanatically Real broadcast tonight as we are going to be bringing you the Bravo Dynasty Draft Selection Show. Thank you for joining us tonight. We apologize for being an hour later than we originally expected. Some Army things came up that we needed to take care of, but we are here. If you were part of or got to watch the Alpha Dynasty Draft Selection Show, you know what you're about to watch tonight. You are going to see a parade of teams first. These are all of the teams that are participating in the Bravo Defunct Dynasty League this year. We're going to show you the brands. We're going to tell you a little bit about a history of each one of those teams, why the general managers selected them, and then we will get into the actual draft selection part. Show's going to probably take about an hour, so make sure you strap in, stick around. If you got to go, it will be available for you on replay here on Facebook and out on YouTube in a day or so. So who is out there with us right now? I know Louie's on with us. I told Louie he was going to like what I was wearing tonight. He's a big Jets fan just like I am. He just sent me a picture a few minutes ago of all of the beverages that he has sitting around him right now and asked if it was enough for a parade. And Louie, I think you're going to be okay with what you got there. All right, so let's not delay this very much longer. Let's go ahead and get into these parade of teams. Our first one in the chute is the Birmingham Barracudas. This team owned by our good friend at Empty Wagon Fantasy Football Podcast, Josh Hughes. Sorry about that. The Birmingham Barracudas were a Canadian football team that played their only season in 1995 in the Canadian Football League. The Barracudas were part of a failed attempt to expand the CFL into the United States. They finished that season 10-8 and lost in the division semifinals. Damian Gratz on with us, Athena on with us. How are both of you? All right, let's move on to the next team, which is the Boston Bulldogs. The Boston Bulldogs are owned by Donald Murphy, and the team themselves competed in the first American Football League in 1926. The Bulldogs only lasted 6 games into the AFL season, playing 1 home game in Braves Field and 1 in Fenway Park. The Bulldogs went 2-4 over that 6-game span. The logo, because the team is so old, they didn't really have a logo, of course, but a quick history lesson let us know that the team's colors were dark blue and white. And then GM Donald Murphy picked this team brand because he is the proud papa of 2 amazing Bulldogs. Let me get a little bit of water here for just a second. All right. Next team in the chute. Louie, this is for you. The Birmingham Jets. So we kind of have a unique branding here with this. Owner Louis Cintron is a huge Jets fan and definitely wanted to bring the Bridgeport Jets back to life, but was not a fan of the logo that the team used in 1968. And if you would like to see what he means, go out and Google the Bridgeport Jets and you'll see what we're talking about. So the Jets began play in the Atlantic Coast Football League in 1966 as the Waterbury Orbits. The Orbits are already officially affiliated with the New York Jets in the American Football League, became the Bridgeport Jets in 1968. The ACFL suspended operations for the 1972 season after losing several franchises. And while the Jets did not dissolve, they were inactive for a year. They returned as part of a 6-team ACFL in 1973. They finished atop their division with an 11-1 record and faced the New England Colonials in the league championship game, which they lost 41-17. It turned out to be the final game for the ACFL, which folded soon after. The Jets moved to the Seaboard Football League in 1974, but the Seaboard Football League folded at the end of that season, and the Jets franchise ended. So what we ended up doing there for Louis was, because if you get a chance to go out and look at the logo, he wanted to rebrand with something a little bit different. So we ended up going with the colors that the Jets use now and the Bridgeport Jets used back then. We kind of took a little bit of creative freedom with this one, and this is what we came up with for the Bridgeport Jets. You're changing you're changing his contact name to Donald. What do you guys normally call him? You guys normally call him Donnie? Um, Ted says he's got me on the big screen so excited. I don't know if you should really be all that excited about that. And yeah, Louie's right. The logo that the Jets were using kind of looked like a blimp. Josh Hughes says our team has no real history. Guess we got to create one. That's cool. I like that. Yeah, they didn't stick around very long. I mean, they only played their one season in 1995, but the branding that they put together was pretty awesome with the Barracuda, so I really like that. And then we have another team that's coming up right now that's like one of those old school teams that played so far in the past that we don't really have any logos for them either, so we ended up creating the brand with the freedom, and that's the Brooklyn Lions. They were part of the NFL that played in the 1926 NFL season. The team was formed as the league's counter move to the first American Football League, which enfranchised a team called the Brooklyn Horsemen, which was a professional football team that competed in the 1926 AFL season. On November 12, 1926, the Horsemen withdrew from the AFL and merged with the Lions. The new team created by the merger was initially called the Brooklyn Lions and competed in the NFL from the starting November 22nd, 1926. But for the last 3 games of the 26 season, the team used the Horsemen name to finish the season. After 3 consecutive losses by shutout, the merged team winked out of existence. The team is now owned by Joel Santana. As you might have guessed, logo didn't exist for the team back there in 1926. So what you're seeing is an awesome creation for some creative freedom between him and me. The only thing that we did know from our research was that the Lions team colors were red, black, and white, as you can see them here. Let's see. Josh, who says these teams are looking good. So let me see what you all think about this next one. This one's got an interesting story behind it. Y'all heard of the Cincinnati Reds baseball team? Have you ever heard of the Cincinnati Reds football team? Cincinnati Reds were a National Football League team that played the 1933 season and the first 8 games of the 1934 season. The team was eventually suspended for failure to pay league dues during the 1934 season, and the St. Louis Gunners, which was an independent team at that time, replaced the Reds on the schedule for the last 3 games. And interesting enough, you're actually going to see the St. Louis Gunners brand here towards the end of the show as well. The Reds hold the dubious distinction of having the 2 lowest officially recognized season scoring totals in NFL history. In 1933, they scored 38 points in 10 games, tying the 1942 Detroit Lions for second on that list. In 1934, the Reds and Gunners combined for only 37 points in 11 games. During our research, we found that the Reds were one of the few teams that had some sort of logo on their old leather helmets, which you see here, that kind of has that Michigan-esque like pattern on it. From a graphic standpoint, me trying to create this was definitely a challenge, but it was a lot of fun. It definitely tested my abilities, and I appreciate Sean Linville as he worked with me on this, and we got through it. So I thought that one was looking pretty good too. All right, this next one has also got a great story behind it. So the Erie Explosion was a professional American indoor football team based in Erie, Pennsylvania. They were originally founded in 2007 as the Pittsburgh River Rats. The Explosion played in the Professional Indoor Football League, the United Indoor Football League, the Southern Indoor Football League, the Continental Indoor Football League, and the American Indoor Football Association. And they operated continuously from 2007 to 2015. So Damian Scott likes to tell a great story about how much flack this team got for its name and its logo. So he wasn't even sure if this is really what he wanted to use, but knew he wanted to be the Erie Explosion. And after we did some experimenting with the logo, we just decided to go with the original one. And once we put it together, we both really liked it. And this is what we got for the Erie Explosion. All right, next one. Ted Howard, I know you're out there watching me on the big screen right now. Next, we got the Jacksonville Sharks. And I know what you're thinking. This isn't the normal Jacksonville Sharks that you're used to seeing from the arena-style football. That's because this is the Jacksonville Sharks that were a professional American football team based in Jacksonville, Florida, which competed in the World Football League in 1974. The Sharks folded during the 74 season due to financial difficulties, and they were succeeded by the Jacksonville Express, which also folded when the league ceased operations during the 1975 season. So Ted was very methodical in what he wanted, which team he wanted to bring back to life, and so much so that we even ended up changing the word mark that you see up there for the Jacksonville Sharks. And I really like how this brand put together. And if you look at this and go out, any of these that we've presented so far, if you go out and look at what the brands look like and what we brought back to life, this one was really, really cool. And it's like spot on with what was originally there in the 70s for the Jacksonville Sharks. So one of my personal favorites, the Ohio Glory, they only played one season in 1992 in the World League of American Football, which later became the NFL Europe. Columbus, Ohio was awarded a World League of American Football franchise after the Raleigh-Durham Skyhawks posted an 0-10 season. Ohio didn't do much better as they only posted a 1-9 record after one season of play. And Damian Gratz didn't hesitate at all when I asked him which defunct team he wanted to be. And I can't really blame him. I always thought this was a really good brand, and I actually do remember watching them play on TV in 1992. Let's see. Next. Mustangs. The Omaha Mustangs. Great story here on this one, too. Omaha Mustangs were a professional American football team based in Omaha, Nebraska. They began as an independent semi-pro team in the early 1960s before joining the Professional Football League of America, a newly formed league based on the remnants of the United Football League in 1965. The Mustangs won the PFLA championship in their second season by defeating the Des Moines Warriors in a playoff game in front of 4,530 spectators. Omaha moved to the Continental Football League for the 1968 season and finished 7-5. More story here. On December 15, 1969, the COFL revoked Omaha's franchise for failure to meet the league's financial obligation. The league itself quietly disbanded after the 1969 season, and the Mustangs joined the Trans-American Football League for the 1970 season. In February 1971, the Mustangs announced that they would be joining the Midwest Professional Football League. The Mustangs did not operate for the 1973 season. They were revived as a fully independent team in 1974. And General Manager Cody Willinger had a really hard time trying to find a defunct brand for himself because he is himself from Nebraska and wanted to represent the state, but there just aren't very many professional football teams from Nebraska. When he found this one, we put it together and really, really liked this one. All right, this next one has an amazing... Hold on, y'all. Let me get another drink here. This next one, the Pottsville Maroons, has a great, great story and history behind it. And I know Jason Trumbley, why he wanted to bring this team back to life after we had a discussion about it. Let me tell you the story. So they were an American football team based in Pottsville, Pennsylvania. They were founded in 1920. They played in the National Football League from 1925 to 1928. In 1929, they relocated to Boston, where they played one season as the Boston Bulldogs, not the same Boston Bulldogs that we've already showed earlier. This team was founded as the Pottsville 11, which was an independent team playing in a local Eastern Pennsylvania circuit. But in 1924, a local surgeon called John Strigel purchased the Pottsville 11 for $1,500. That year, teams in the local circuit decided to form a league which became known as the Anthracite League. This was also the year the team adopted the Maroons name. According to legend, the team placed an order for new football jerseys with a local sporting goods supplier called Joe Zacco, telling him that the color was not important. Zacco sent the team 25 maroon jerseys, and that's how the team got the name. The next season, they joined the NFL under owner John Strigel. Though dominant on the field, a controversial suspension cost them the 1925 NFL championship. They were reinstated the following year, but after two successful losing seasons in 27 and 28, Strigel sold the Maroons to a group in Boston where they played the one season before folding. I thought for sure when we were putting this together that GM Jason Trumbley was going to pick a defunct team from California because that's where Jason's actually from. But he wanted to make sure that we brought the Maroons back to life because he wants to try to win a championship for this team because they got theirs stripped away from them in 1925, and that's how the brand was born. Let me make sure I catch up with what you all were saying out there. I think these brands look better than the Alpha League, which is still pretty good. I don't know how many of the Alpha League that's out there right now. What do you all think? And Jason's on there with us. Jason, I didn't see you jump on. Hey, man, how are you? Great brand, by the way. I'm glad we put this together. All right, we've got 2 more to go. The Steamrollers. The Providence Steamrollers were a professional American football team based in Providence, Rhode Island, in the National Football League from 1925 to 1931. Providence was the first New England team to win an NFL championship. Sometimes you'll see when you look at this team throughout history that it's either called the Steamrollers or the Steamroller, no S on it. They won the league championship in 1928. This brand came together in a remarkably interesting way. GM Joe Parsons and he's actually from New Hampshire, but wanted to bring this brand to life. We knew the colors were orange, black, and white with doing a little bit of our research. However, the logo, if you go out and look at it, is just hilarious. It's what they used to call a man dog or a dog man. It looks like a dog or a guy with his tongue hanging out with these pointy ears, and it's just a horrible logo. So instead of using the football logo, we decided to go with the Steamrollers logo from the Basketball Association of America. The Steamrollers were one of the original 11 NBA franchises because before it was known as the NBA, it was known as the Basketball Association of America. The team posted an all-time record of 46 and 122 before folding after 3 seasons. We decided to use the NBA team's logo, but the NFL team's colors when we built this brand. Louis says it's a puppy. Yeah, you got to go out and look. If you want the real Steamrollers logo, then we got to put the blimp for the Jets on yours, Louis. How about that? All right, and our last one is the St. Louis Gunners. We mentioned just a little bit ago that we were going to be talking about this one. So this is our last team of the parade. St. Louis Gunners were an independent professional football team based in St. Louis, Missouri that played the last 3 games of the 1934 NFL season, replacing the Cincinnati Reds on the league schedule after the Reds league's membership was suspended. They won their first game against the Pittsburgh Pirates, who are now the Pittsburgh Steelers, 6-0, but lost the last 2 games to the Detroit Lions and the Green Bay Packers. 6 of the Reds players joined the team for the last 2 games. The team was headquartered at the St. Louis National Guard Armory, which is how they got the team name, the Gunners. I talked to GM Randy McCarty, who grew up in Illinois, and he said he used to always go to the baseball games in St. Louis. He even attended a preseason football game when the Cardinals were still in St. Louis. He originally thought about using the Chicago Cardinals, but couldn't get over the whole St. Louis-Chicago rivalry. And the more he researched, the more he liked the Gunners brand, and that's what we ended up going with. So there you have it. There are all of the Bravo defunct Dynasty teams. Let's get on with the draft selection show. All right, so y'all can see me again. You can see the screen. If you've watched the Alpha show, you know what we're about to do. What I've got here in front of me is all of those same brands that you all just got done seeing in the parade of teams. I'm going to fold them in half and half again. They are going to end up going into the Walter the Wizard 25th anniversary hat. We are going to pull out one team. Once we pull out that first team, we are going to virtually roll a 12-sided dice. As you can see right there on the screen, we've got 2 screens in the middle. On the left-hand side, you see what says 2d6 that are going to be 2 6-sided dice that will get rolled there. Those are our action dice. Our action dice is what causes the board to do all of the crazy things. If you want to know what each one of the totals of the action dice, what those totals will cause to happen, look right there on the right-hand side of the screen. You can see what each one of those are, and then we will go from there. Every time that we pull a team out of the hat, we will roll a action dice. We'll see what happens with that action dice, and we will place a team on that spot on the board. It'll make more sense once it gets going. I promise. Anybody got any questions before we get started? See who else is out there. St. Louis Gunners, formerly known as the Chicago Cardinals. Josh says, let's do this. Damian says, let's get one start over. Okay, yeah, there is a Uh-oh. What just happened to my live video? Can you all see me out there? There we go. We're back on, at least on my side. I don't know if you guys had a blip on your side or not. So there is one change to the action dice that we have made an upgrade since we did this with the Alpha League. We did have 2 start overs when we were doing the Alpha side. And somebody suggested that we ended up changing that to a start over a lot because we had the majority of the board filled, and we got to start over. And then as we got probably about half of the board filled, we had another start over. Let me count all of these up real quick. I feel like I'm short one for some reason. I don't remember folding up the St. Louis Gunners, and I want to make sure we get Randy in there. There's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, they're all there. Felt like I was missing somebody. All right, so here's what we are going to do. We are going to shake the dickens out of the Walter hat. We're going to pull our first team out. We're going to roll the 12-sided dice and put them on the board. Once we get them on the board, then we will start rolling action dice. First one out of the hat is Omaha Mustangs and Cody Wallinger. So Cody, you are first one on. Let me show you where your logos are going to show up at when we do this, right here on the corner of my face. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to roll the 12-sided dice, and that is the spot you are currently going to go into. So we roll the 12-sided dice, and you are going to go into the 6th slot currently. So let's move you over to number 6. There's number 6. Let me space you in there a little bit better. All right, so now we roll the action dice and see what happens. Action dice come across as a 6, and 6 says swaps team's position with 2d12. So here's what we do here. There's only one team on the board. We are going to change this to 2 12-sided dice now, and we are going to roll. If for some reason one of those dice ends up being a 6, then Cody, your team will get changed to what the other dice reads when we roll that. If there is no 6, nothing happens. We've got a 7 and a 4, so nothing happens. So let's pull another team out of the hat. And it is going to be the Birmingham Barracudas and Josh Hughes. Josh, we're going to roll 1 12-sided dice. We're going to put you on the board in whatever spot comes up. You are going into the 8th spot currently. Let me find my Barracudas logo here. There you are. We are putting you in the 8th spot. And then we are going to roll the action dice. What do we get? We get a total of 6. So swaps teams positions with 2d12. So if we roll a 6 or an 8 with this 2d12, one of you will be changing positions. If it happens to be a 6 and an 8, you both will be changing positions. We have an 8 and a 4. So Josh, even though we just put you on the board, you are getting moved to the 8th spot, or to the 4th spot, I'm sorry, from the 4th to the 8th. And we are going to shake the hat and pull out another team. See what we're missing out there so far. Cody wants to lock a team. Somebody's selecting Tim Tebow. Jason says he's got dibs on luck. That's been a really big joke throughout the Alpha draft this whole time because of how the draft went down last year. We had a team in each one of the redraft leagues that were on auto draft, and because Luck retired so close to the beginning of the season and MFL did not have a chance to get him out of the system, that each one of those auto drafted teams ended up getting Luck on their team. I've been asked by the Alpha group if I would use my last overall pick, which is the last overall pick in the draft as well, to draft Andrew Luck. And I said I would. I did look last night. Andrew Luck is not in the list of players available for me to draft. The only way I could get him is if we add him as a new player. Cincinnati Reds and Sean Linville are on the hot seat right now. We're going to roll 1 12-sided die and see where we're going to put the Cincinnati Reds. Cincinnati Reds are going to go in the number 10 slot. So let's get you fired up. So what you're seeing here on the Cincinnati Reds logo isn't really their logo. You saw their helmet. Their helmet is just that Michigan S looking print. So what we got here was we found a digital copy of one of the Cincinnati Reds programs, and we pulled this kicker punter off of that, and that's what you're seeing being represented as the logo there. So now that we got the team on the board, let's roll some action dice. And we got a 7. 7 means we're going to roll a D12 until an open position is filled. So what we're going to do is we got to pull that team first, and then we're going to roll the D12 and put them on the board. If for some reason we roll a 4, 6, or a 10 position that's already filled, we will re-roll until we get an open position. And the team that's getting ready to go on the board right now are the Bridgeport Jets. So Louis, we're going to roll the 12 and see what you end up with. Number 10 is currently filled by the Reds, so we're going to roll again. Number 4 is currently held by the Barracudas, so we will roll again. Number 9. So for the moment, the Bridgeport Jets, you find your logo here, are going into the number 9 spot. Louis, how you feel about that so far? How's anybody feel about the spots that they have so far? All right. You know what? Let's roll an action dice. Let's do that before we pull another team out. 3, we get to pull a team from the board. Well, only if we roll a 4, 6, 10, or 12 do we pull one of them off the board. Let's see what we end up with. Got a 4. Barracudas. Guess what? You're getting pulled off the board. You're getting put back in the hat with a chance to be pulled out later. So let's get you moved back over into the on-deck circle and close you out. And let's shake the dickens out of this hat. Got 2 of them stuck together here. Jacksonville Sharks, Ted Howard. See what spot we're going to put you in, Ted. The number 8 spot, Jacksonville Sharks, are going into the number 8 spot. Maybe they're going into the number 8 spot. Why won't you let me move you, Jacksonville Sharks? There we go. And the Sharks are in number 8 spot. And we are going to roll the action dice to see what happens now that we got an extra team on the board. Number 3, pull a team off the board. Well, let's see if we're going to pull a team off the board. We roll a 6, 8, 9, or 10. We will be pulling one. Number 3, so we pull nobody from the board. All right. So let's pull another team out of the hat. Let's see who we got. Josh, going right back up on the board. The Birmingham Barracudas. Let's see what spot we put you in this time. The number 7 spot. So let's get the Barracudas back on the board. Where are you? There you are. Barracudas going into the number 7 spot. All right, let's roll them action dice. Number 6. Swap teams' positions with a 2d12s. Let's add an extra 12 set of dice in this and let's throw. If we get a 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, one of those teams might be moving into another spot. Got a 1 and a 3. We've got nobody in either one of those spots, so nothing is going to happen. Let's pull us another team out of here. See who we pull out this time. Joe Parsons, the Providence Steamrollers. Let's roll a 12-sided dice and see what we are going to put you. The number 1 spot. Steamrollers are going into the number 1 spot currently. All right, let's roll an action dice. Oh, Lord, you got to be kidding me. All right, y'all. Y'all coming off the board. All of you are going back in the hat. And we're going to start this daggone thing over. Oh, Lord. So, like we said, we did make a change after this happened twice in the Alpha League. So, what we're going to do now is if for some crazy reason we roll a 2 again, we will lock that team that's on the board. I hope you all weren't comfortable with where you're at because it's about to change up again. All right, let me get you all moved off the board here. Let me put the Mustangs over here. Mustangs, we're going to hide you and lock you. Steamrollers, we're going to move you over. Hide you and lock you. Barracudas, back into the hole. Hide you and lock you. Sharks, hide you and lock you. There's got to be, like, I would think that the chances of this happening as often as it does, it just can't happen as often, can it? 3 times in 2 drafts? No way. Wonder what the random number generator software looks like. Hey! So now that we got everybody back in the hat again. Ugh. Joel says wild. Alright, let's shake it up. Let's pull out a team here and see who we get. Good Lord. Bridgeport Jets. First one out of the hat. Just know that it doesn't matter if we roll a snake eye again for the rest of the night. We are not going to pull everybody off. All right. The Jets are going to go into number 5 spot. Maybe. The Jets will go into the number 5 spot. There we go. Let me get you centered up in there. A little bit better, Louie. All right. Let's do some action dice. Number 4, move up 1 position or down 1 position based on what I roll on the D12. So if I roll an odd number, Louis is going to move up to the number 4 spot. If I roll an even number, Louis is going to move down to the number 6 spot. So I roll an odd, Louis, you are moving up to the number 4 spot. And that's currently where you sit. And we're going to roll an action dice. Number 6. Swap teams positions 2d12. This is only going to happen if one of these rolls happens to be a 4. It is not. So we are going to roll action dice again. Number 9, swap teams position. Same thing we just got done doing. Only going to happen if we roll a 4. We did not. Back to the action dice. See if we can't speed this up a little bit. 3, pull team from the board. Only going to happen if we end up rolling a 4. Did not. Back to the action dice. 4, move up or down 1 position. Louis is the only one on the board right now, and it is an odd number. So Louis, you keep climbing up the board. You are now in the number 3 spot. Action dice. Number 7, D12 until a position is open. All right, well, before we get ready to fill that team, whatever that team is, we got to get one out. And that team we're going to roll until we get a spot filled, which shouldn't be too hard, is going to be the Jacksonville Sharks and Ted Howard. Ted, we're going to roll a 12-sided dice and get you back on the board. And you are going to go into the number 7 spot. Let's put you in the number 7 spot. All right. Let's get some action dice. Number 4. We are going to move both of you up or down a position based on whatever we roll here with this D12. And we rolled an odd number again, so everybody is moving up 1 spot. The Sharks now move up to the number 6 spot, and Louis just keeps on creeping up there. He is now moving to the number 2 spot. All right, let's roll some action dice. Number 7, D12 until a spot opens up. Let's figure out what team is going up on this board next. Next team up on the board with the D12 is going to be the Boston Bulldogs. Donald Murphy. Should I call him Donald or do I call him Donnie? You guys let me know. Going into number 3 spot, there is the Bulldogs. We're going to put him in the number 3 spot. Josh wanting the Kudas to come up on the board. Well, we've got a fourth of the league up there now. Let's roll an action dice. Number 6. Swap teams' positions with a D12. 2D12. Let's see if a 2, 3, or 6 show up. A 3 does show up, so the Bulldogs that just hit the board are now moving to the number 12 spot. Let's roll an action dice. Number 6. Swap teams' positions again with a D12. 2D12. Let's see if this affects anybody. Number 3 going to number 7. Nobody in either one of those spots. Let's roll an action dice. 12. We are flipping the whole board. What that means is the number 12 becomes the number 1. The number 2 becomes the number 11. Number 3 becomes the number 10. And all the way down like that. So we're about to do this. So 12 becomes 1. I'll fix that in a second. 2 becomes 11. And 6 becomes 7. And now we're rolling some more action dice. Uh-oh. My dice went bye-bye. There we go. Let's throw those again. Okay, they're not showing up. Let's refresh the screen and find out why we're not getting any dice. There we go. They're back now. Got a number 5. We are going to roll the 12 until an open spot comes up. But we got to pull the team out the hat first to figure out who's going on the board. Next team out is going to be the Erie Explosion. Are you out there, Damien? I don't know if you are out there or not. Let's see what spots we are going to put you in. We are rolling a D12 until a spot opens up. 7 is already filled. 8 is open. So we are going to put the Erie Explosion in the number 8 spot. Alright, let's roll some action dice. Told y'all it's going to be a long show. We're 37 minutes in. Strap in. We still got more to go. Number 4, we're moving everybody up or down a position based on odd or even of our D12. That is a 6. That's an even. That means everybody is moving down one position. So number 1 becomes number 2. Number 11 becomes number 12. Number 8 becomes 9. Number 7 becomes 8. And we roll some action dice. 10. D12 and replace the team if the position is already filled. So this time we don't have to worry about rolling to make sure that there is an open spot. If the team is already there, we're going to take this team that's in my hand right now, put them on the board in that spot, and the team that's in that spot is coming off and going back in the hat. And it is the Pottsville Maroons. And we're going to find out if they're replacing a team or if they're just going on the board in whatever spot we got for them. They are going in the number 9 spot. So the Maroons are going on the board. And they are going to replace the Erie Explosion. Erie Explosion are going back in the on-deck circle. And they are going back in the hat. Let's roll some action dice. Number 8. We're going to roll a D12 until a spot is filled. So whatever team I pull out next, we will roll that D12 until a spot is filled. This time will not be a replacement. It will just be a fill. And out of the hat is the St. Louis Gunners. And I know Randy was out there waiting for me to try to put this together tonight at 3 o'clock. He actually was avoiding taking a trip as well to make sure he could watch. And unfortunately, we got a late start. So Randy, I hope you're able to see this right now. Definitely watch it later. We're going to continue rolling until we get you in a spot. You were going in the number 9 spot. Can't put you there. The Maroons just went there. Number 2 is filled by the Bulldogs. Can't put you there either. Number 7. We can get the Gunners in the number 7 spot, though. All right, let's roll some action dice. Number 3, we're going to pull a team from the board. We only pull a team from the board if we roll their number. The number we roll is 11. There is no team on the board. Back to the action dice. Number 6. Number 6 is going to be swapping two teams' positions based on 2d12. So let's get 2d12s up there. We're going to be swapping 12 and 11. There is nobody in 11, but the Jets are in 12, and they are now going to fill the 11 spot. Let's roll the dice. Number 4, we are going to move everybody up or down a position based on odd or even on this dice throw of the 12-sided die. It is an even, so everybody is moving down the board 1. I know we just moved the Jets up 1, but they are going back 1. The Maroons are going to 10. The Sharks are going to 9. The Gunners are going to 8. And the Bulldogs are going to 3. And we are back on some dice. Number 9, swap teams with 2d12. Team swaps are going to be between 4 and 3. Bulldogs were in 3. No team in 4, but they take over the 4 spot. Let's roll some action dice. 11. We are going to lock a team. This is going to be the first time that we have locked a team, I believe, in both of these shows. So what we're going to do is roll 1d12. If that d12 comes up of any of the spots that we have right now, 4, 8, 9, 10, or 12, no matter what happens on any of the die rolls for the rest of the night, that team is locked in that position and will not move. And that applies to number 6, which unfortunately is nobody right now. So we go back to the action dice. Number 8, we are going to roll a d12 until a spot is filled. We have to pull that next. Ooh, next team just jumped right out the hat. So I guess that means they want to be up on the board. And it is going to be the Omaha Mustangs. We're going to get you back up on the board. D12 until a spot is filled. Number 10 spot is currently filled. So we need to get you an empty spot. Omaha Mustangs are going into the number 1 spot. Let's get you back up on the board here. Omaha, number 1 currently. Gosh, how many people we got on the board? We only got half the league on the board right now. Let's get some action dice. We lost the dice again. There we go. We got them back. Number 9. Number 9 means swap two teams' positions. Let's see who we might be swapping. The number 5 and the number 11. Nobody in either one of those spots. Action dice says 5. We're going to roll a d12 until a spot is filled. Let's see who's next out of the hat. Next team out of the hat is Birmingham Barracudas. Josh, you're back up again. I feel like there's a couple of teams that we haven't seen yet. Cincinnati Reds, I don't think have been. Yeah, we did. We got the Reds up, didn't we? Josh, going to the number 2 spot. Let me find my Barracuda logo here. I'm going to put you at number 2. Patrick Mahomes, Christian McCaffrey. Who you like in the number 2 spot? Let's roll some action dice. Is that what you think, Louie? He says I lost the dice because they flipped the board and put him back down here in the bottom. Number 10, D12, and replace the team if the position is filled. All right, so we're going to pull somebody out of the hat. We're going to roll the D12. If that spot is filled, whatever team I pull out right now is going to fill that spot, and the team that's on the board will come off the board. Cincinnati Reds, we just spoke about them. Let's see where the Reds are going. Reds are going into the number 8 spot, which is where the Gunners are at right now. So let's get the Cincinnati Reds logo on. And they are going to go down here where the Gunners are at. The Gunners are going to come off the board and get thrown back in the hat. Now let me find the Gunners brand here. Got it here. We're going to throw them back in the hat. And we're going to roll an action dice. Number 4, move up or down one position based on odd or even of this die roll. Oh, we got odd, which means everybody is going to go up one spot. Now, the board does wrap when we do this. And when I say that, you'll see what I'm about to do. 8 becomes 7. 9 becomes 8. 10 becomes 9. 12 becomes 11. 1 becomes 12. 2 becomes 1, and 4 becomes 3. Josh, now how do you feel about that number 1 spot? And we're going to roll action dice. Number 3. Number 3 is pull team from the board. Let's see what team we're going to pull from the board. The number 2, nobody's there. Let's roll action dice. I see Mary Beth is out there. That's Josh's wife. She said lovely. I'm sure she is enjoying the fact that they've got the number 1 pick together right now. Number 4, we are moving up or down 1 spot again. So Josh might be in the number 1 spot right now, but if we get another odd number, he could be rolling to the number 12 spot. Let's see what we get. Look at that, odd. Everybody is going to shift up 1 spot. So we're going to take number 7 to number 6, 8 to 7, 9 to 8, 11 to 10, 12 to 11. Josh, you are now in the 12 spot, and 3 to 2. Bulldogs inching their way back up to that number 2 or to that number 1 spot. 5. D12 into a position opens up. All right, let's shake these things. How many spots we got left up on the board? 5 still, a little over halfway. All right, St. Louis Gunners. So we are going to roll a D12 until a position is filled. Right now, number 10 is filled. Please let me know if I pause again. If I pause on your guys' end, please send me a text message on GroupMe and let me know. 12 is full. Number 6 is full. Number 11 is full. Number 3 is not full. So the Gunners are going to go to the number 3 spot. And let's roll some action dice. Good call for the 2 that I pulled from the board. No, you're not. So we need to back that up. Thank you. Thank you for that. Good Lord, what a mess. Gunners, we are blowing you back off the board. The 2 teams that I had pulled off the board, I did not put their brands back in the hat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5 in the hat now. All right, so let's do that again. Let's pull a team from the hat, and then let's roll the D12 until a spot opens up. Thank you, Joel. Thank you, guys. That's why you guys are the best. Brooklyn Lions. That is a team that we have not seen on the board yet tonight. Let's roll until we get the Lions on the board. Number 9. We're going to put the Lions right in the number 9 spot. There we go. Number 9 for the Lions. All right, let's get some action dice going here. Good Lord. 6. Swap team's position with 2D12. You know what would be perfect right now? Snake Eyes. Snake Eyes would be great. Let's do a D12 and swap some spots. Number 5 and number 9 are swapping. So we just put the Lions on the board. Lions are going up to the number 5 spot. And we're going to throw some more dice. Number 3, pull a team from the board. Let's see what team is coming off the board. The number 1, there is nobody currently in the number 1 spot. Nobody comes off the board. Number 4, we're going to move everybody up or down based on the roll of this 12-sided dice. Move up if it's odd, move it down if it's even. It is even. Everybody is going down 1 spot, which means Barracudas back at number 1. Bulldogs to 3. And then we're going to shift down this way. 11 to 12, 10 to 11, 8 to 9, 7 to 8, 6 to 7, 5 to 6. And we are back on the dice. 7. D12 until a spot that is open is filled. All right, let's see who we're putting on the board. Justice. Steamrollers, you're in the hat, and we're about to put you back up on the board in one of those empty spots. Number 9 is not empty. Number 5 is empty though, so we are going to put you in the number 5 spot. Maybe we're going to put you in the 5 spot. There we go. Let's roll some action dice, y'all. This is the longest show in the history of shows, I think. 9. Swap positions with 2d12. I always enjoy these. I think these are a lot of fun. I wish this would happen more often. So we are swapping the number 4 with the number 12. So right now we have no team in the number 4 spot. So the Mustangs are going up to the number 4. And we're rolling action dice. Yes, I moved the Bulldogs. Six. Swap teams with 2d12. 9 and 3. Maroons and the Bulldogs are swapping spots. Action dice. I'm exhausted. It's like a marathon. D12 until we fill a spot. All right. Let's see who we're going to put on the board. All right. We got 3 spots left. This could take a few rolls. Gunners getting ready to go back up on the board again. What do we got left open? 212, 210, and 12. 6. Only 2, 10, or 12. This could take a while, y'all. Stick with me. 10. 10 is open. We are putting the Gunners in number 10. Action dice. 2 spots left to get up on the board. Number 11. Okay, we are going to lock a team. Unless we get a 2 or a 12, we are finally going to lock a team. Number 3, the Maroons are locked. Maroons, you are not going anywhere. You have the number 3 spot. Enjoy your Saquon Barkley-like position. Let's roll some action dice. Number 6, swap team's position. Now remember, because we have the Maroons locked, he will not go anywhere if there is a swapping of positions. The number 1 and the number 3 cannot swap. Number 3 position is locked. Maroon, sorry for you. Josh, you're good to still stay at the number 1 spot. We're throwing some action dice. Number 9, swap teams' positions with 2d12. We are moving 12 and 6. The Lions are moving down to the number 12 spot. Action dice. 5. We're going to roll a d12 until position opens up. We've got the 2 and the 6 spot left. Ohio Glory is either going to go number 2 or number 6. This one could take a while. That's a 9. That's a 1. There's a 6. 6, Ohio Glory is going into the number 6 spot. Now, for those who have not seen this before, even though we get the board set, we still roll the die one more time after everybody is on the board. And sometimes that last roll has a lot of effects on it. Action dice. Number 5, D12 until a position is opened up. We only have 1 spot left, 1 person left in the hat. That is the Erie Explosion. The Explosion are getting ready to go into the number 2 spot. and then we will roll the action dice one more time. Don't forget, the Maroons are locked. They cannot move no matter what happens here on this roll. Let's see what we get for our final roll of the show now that we have been on for an hour and 16 minutes with multiple technical difficulties. Number 11, which means we would lock another team. All the teams are where they're going to be anyways. This is the draft order for the Bravo Dynasty, Defunct Dynasty draft that will be taking place on Monday starting at 6 o'clock in the morning with the Birmingham Barracudas with the number 1 pick. Josh says, don't roll it, don't roll it. I'm wondering what you thought was coming up. So you do have the number 1 pick, Josh Hughes. So I will put this on MFL. As soon as we get done here, you will see the draft order. For those of you that don't understand the third round reversal, go and look and see what that means. It means the Lions will pick 12, 13, and 25 when they go to make their pick. And then Josh, what do you get? The 1, the 13, and the 36? Is that how it works out, I think? Is what you get at the number 1 spot. All right, y'all. I really, really apologize for all of the technical difficulties we had. Hopefully, we'll be able to get Brandon to chop this thing up and put it together so it looks somewhat presentable whenever you go to watch a replay of this on YouTube. Hit me up with any questions on GroupMe, regular text message, leave a message here, Instagram, Twitter, however you normally reach me. I think I'm on the clock in the alpha draft, so I need to get over there and make a couple of picks. But I'm going to make sure I take care of the Bravo draft order first. You all have a great rest of your weekend. And Bravo League, I'll see you on Monday at 6 o'clock in the morning for the start of the draft. You all have a great night.